Here's the story I really hate because it's just so idiotic. Agence France-Presse is now reporting that rising U.S. star Issa Rae held up her hand up to sexualizing men in her hit television series Insecure, saying it was time for the female gaze to have its day. Gaze being like G-A-Z-E, not like the female gaze like Ellen DeGeneres, like the female gaze to have its day. The African-American writer and producer admitted she was all for the camera lingering longer on the glories of the naked male. So she says, men are more sexualized in the series because we are seeing this through the female lens. She says, when I'm in the act myself, I don't say, ooh, look at my body. You're seeing what I see, what I'm looking at. It's all very intentional. We're always seeing TNA on screen. This is an opportunity to reverse that. She says that her mom, who's a good Christian, hates the show. She said the bad language, the sex. She'll say, why did I even bother with parental control and having you not watch R-rated movies if you grew up to make the things you weren't allowed to watch? What I think is hilarious about this is she says it's time for women to sexualize men. Okay, well, I thought the critique was that men were sexualizing women and that was bad, and men shouldn't treat women as pieces of meat. So I guess now the reverse is that women should sexualize men and treat them as pieces of meat. There's a difference, however. When women are sexualized by men and treated as pieces of meat, they don't like it. Okay, this is one of the great objections, the correct objections of the Me Too movement. Don't treat me like a piece of meat. Don't sexualize me. Don't treat me as though I'm just a sexual object. Fair enough, correct. How do you think men react to being sexualized? If a woman says to a man, I really want to see you naked, there is not a man on earth who is upset about this sentence. Yeah. Like really, this is not, men do not operate in the same way that women do, and only idiot radical feminists think differently. If a man says to a woman in a bar, I want to see you naked, she is insulted and throws a drink in his face. If a woman says to a man in a bar, I want to see you naked, the man says, okay, where do we go? That's really how that goes. And there's a 1989 study, it's still my favorite social science study ever. There's a 1989 study in which these college professors sent an attractive woman into a bar to ask 100 men whether they wanted to go home with her for the night. 75 of the 100 men said yes. Okay, then the same study authors sent a man into the bar to ask 100 women whether they wanted to go home for the night. How many women said yes? Zero. So when radical feminists are like, it's time for us to start sexualizing men are like, go for it, man. We've been waiting for this for generations. Like, go for it. But again, if you are convincing women that you are somehow acting in equality to men, it's going to work out well for you. It ain't going to work out well for you. Okay, it's not going to work out well for you because it turns out you'll just be used and abused by a bunch of men. And in the end, you are not acting authentically the way that you actually feel about sex. You are acting as people are telling you to feel about sex. And that means that you are probably going to feel emotionally empty afterward. Now, maybe there are some people who are very into the casual sex and they like to sexualize men and everything works out great. I'm not talking to you, and I really mean you, like it's one person. I'm talking about all the other women on planet Earth who attach emotional intimacy to sex. Because there's other studies that demonstrate that women have better sex in emotionally intimate situations. Sex with strangers does not work the same way for men and women because this is what evolution teaches us. Again, this is not me subjectively trying to promulgate my traditionalist views on sex on women. Evolutionary biology is not in favor of women having random promiscuous sex with strangers. It leads to the genetic offspring of idiots. Really, this is why women are more sexually selective than men. And this is true in every sexually dimorphic species, basically. So again, go for it. You want to do this, all you, enjoy. But let's not pretend that this is in any way going to forward the enjoyment or happiness of women. It's really, really asinine.